Hi, this is Carrie Sparks with Empire Title and Moving with the Market. I'm here today to talk with Brian Reeve from Neighborhood Loans. We're going to discuss a topic that comes up quite often right now with assumable mortgages. Agents do market some of them as assumable as an additional benefit to purchasing a particular property. Can you kind of go through what a homeowner, or excuse me, a buyer would look for in today's market if they're, looking at assumable mortgages, and how does it work, Brian?
So an assumable mortgage is typically going to be your government loans, your FHAs, your VAs, anything that's governmentally insured. Most of them all have assumability clauses in them. The good thing about assumable mortgages, and I think that helps from the affordability standpoint, is that a lot of these assumable mortgages were acquired during the COVID time. 2.75% interest rates, 2.5%. And so it's a great way to sell because, as we talked in prior segments, that what really drives things is the affordability, being able to buy this
Right.
$400,000, $500,000 house at a much lower interest rate and payment. And so it's a great concept. The only thing that a lot of people or some people don't realize when they're looking at an assumable mortgage is that you cannot increase the loan balance on the assumable.
Oh, really?
So for instance, if you're buying a house for $300,000 and that house was originally acquired under a VA loan, and let's say there's a $150,000 mortgage on it, you're required to come in with the difference. So if they're asking for $300,000, you may get that lower interest rate of the balance of $150,000, but you're going to have to come up with the capital of $150,000.
And how do people typically do that if they don't have cash in the bank?
So typically either they'll put cash in the bank, and there are some loan products out there where you can actually tie a second behind it if you do that. But then you got to look at the blended rate. And so right now when you're looking at current prime plus as the index and whatever the margin is, sometimes those interest rates are much higher. And so when you're looking at those interest rates, you're looking at a 10% interest rate, a 9% interest rate. So when you're looking at $150,000 at, let's say, a 9% interest rate, and then you're looking at $150,000 at a 3% interest rate, that blended rate may be 7.5%, 8%.
So it may end up not being as attractive in the end that it is an assumable interest
Correct.
rate.
So it's always better to look at the gap of what the seller wants to sell the house for and what the existing balance is. Now, assumable, sometimes people say, hey, I know a mortgage guy. Let me call a guy and see if I can do the assumable. The assumable mortgage has to be done by the current servicer. So they have to get approval and they have to go to the company that the actual seller of the property is using or who is retaining the servicing to actually apply for that whole process to do the assumability. And so it's a great way to get into a house if you can do it and you have the down payment gap. These tend to be more successful transactions when what the seller is asking for versus the balance that is owed is minimal. There are some really great features that, like for instance, if you get a VA an assumable loan, a lot of people are under the assumption I have to be a veteran,
Right.
or my spouse, and you don't. You can assume a VA loan without being a veteran. So you just have to find the caveats of the existing mortgage before you call on it, and you just get the information from the seller, give them a call, see if you qualify for it. But I think in some circumstances, or actually in a lot of circumstances, if the gap's not too big, assumable loans are great and they're a way to go. It helps us move inventory, and it helps people get into houses at an affordable price.
That's great. Great information. I really appreciate that, and I hope it helps somebody out there maybe going writing off for this weekend and see what we got to, different mortgage products. You can obviously discuss it with you if what's best
Yep.
for you when it comes to the blended rate, which is not something that's talked about that much out there. So familiarize yourself with some of the terminology that is used in the industry and see if we can get some homes sold. Inventory has been rising, but it appears to be stabilizing, at least right now, particularly Southeast Valley. So appreciate you talking with me today. I'm Carrie Sparks with Empire Title, your Arizona title gal, and also Moving with the Market host, here with Brian Reeve from Neighborhood Loans. Today, we appreciate your time and look forward to having you tune in again.
Awesome. Thank you, Carrie. Again, Brian Reeve, branch manager with Neighborhood Loans, 602-741-4801. Give me a call if you have any questions. Thank you.